Hey there, I don't know about you guys, but I have been feeling like keeping my hands busy and doing a lot of crafting, but at the same time, not a lot of complicated crafting. Just trying to keep things really simple right now. So today I just want to share with you guys some of the things that me and my family have been working on to keep our hands busy, keep in crafting, keep playing with yarn, but doing it in a way that is very soothing to the soul. Hey there, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Felicia from Sweet Georgia, and this is Taking Back Friday. This is a space where we come every Friday and we talk about knitting and spinning and weaving and dyeing. We talk about making time to make things. Now, for many of us, we have a lot of time right now at home. Yeah, I think that many of us might be very lucky in a lot of ways that we are able to stay home with our families during this time. And with that time at home, it is, well, it's a little bit challenging. There's a little bit of a juggle going on. And so I have been trying to find ways to keep myself busy with yarn, but also my family busy with yarn too. I feel like that has been a big help. And last week I showed a couple of clips about like our life here with all four of us at home all the time, 2 young kids and everything like that. And I swear this is not going to become, a video channel where all we do is talk about our kids. But at the same time, we're spending a lot of time with our kids. And so what we have in the house is we have quite a lot of yarn, but looking for activities to keep them engaged and busy and calm. So one of the things that I did recently was I went and I got some arts and crafts supplies for the kids, and one of them was some popsicle sticks. So rather than buying a box of 100 popsicle sticks, I decided to buy a box of 1,000 popsicle sticks. And so we have popsicle sticks all over the house. They were very, very excited about popsicle sticks and glitter glue and gluing popsicle sticks together. They did that for about 2 days, and then I decided, okay, we needed to do something else. And so we took some of those popsicle sticks and we started to add yarn to them. So these are very, very simple things that the kids really, really enjoyed doing, and it kept them busy for, like an hour or a bit. I taught them basically the very, very simple crafts, making these God's eye weavings, which are basically 2 popsicle sticks stuck together, in a cross, and then you just wind yarn all the way around it and you change colors wherever you want. These are all yarns, fingering weight, tough love sock yarns that were left over from the big color gamp shawl that I made a couple of months ago. And so these are all the leftover bits and ends. And so Russell took to this craft quite quickly. He really, really enjoyed this. And I taught him how to make one, and he ended up coming back in the afternoon and he made 11 of them. So that was a really, really simple thing to keep him really, settled. He did this. Anybody who's ever met my kids in real life will know that they have an extraordinary amount of energy. They're very active kids. And so getting them to sit for a bit is really, really kind of a challenge. The other thing that we did was I found this online, this craft online, which is basically, it's a toilet paper roll. And again, a whole bunch of popsicle sticks, and you basically just tape the popsicle sticks to the toilet paper roll, and you make basically like a tube knitting device. So you can see that's the inside of the tube. He's got some knitting started there. You basically take this and then you run your yarn around, and then you just put the loops over. So this is basically how sock knitting machines work as well, right? So this is like a tube, and then you have all your stitches all the way around. In this case, we have 5 stitches here because there's 5 popsicle sticks, 5 little pegs, and then out the bottom comes this tube of knitting. It's kind of like an I-cord. It's a 5-stitch I-cord basically. And so this kept Russell also very engaged for a number of hours. He spent a lot of time working on this. He would just sit down at the couch. He took some of the yarn and he wrapped it around his leg to kind of tension it so it wasn't flopping around all over the place. And then in one day, he basically knit himself a scarf. And he was very, very proud of this, the fact that he had made this whole thing in a whole day. But I just was able to notice very distinctly that when he sat down with the yarn in his hands and he was like making the loops one after another, it calmed him down completely. Yeah, it was just fascinating to see how quickly and how dramatically the act of sitting down with some yarn was able to settle him so quickly. It brought him calm, it brought him quiet, it brought him like a lot of peace. And so it's great. Like, he's very proud that he made these things and all of that stuff is great. But it was the act of actually doing it during that time when he was actually doing it. It was calm. And that, I think, is what we inherently know when we're knitting and, you know, we're working on our projects. And this is why we knit. But it was just fascinating to see how dramatic that experience is when you watch it happen in little kids. So that's what the kids have been busy with. They've been taking scrap yarns, you know, leftover yarns from the studio, from the attic here, and just, you know, gluing things, tying things, making things. Now, for me, what I've been working on pretty steadily is this. This is my throwback cardigan. So I'm at the hem, and I think I just have like maybe 1.5 more inches of ribbing to go, and then I'm ready to go pick up and do sleeves. So you can see, I think it's gonna fit pretty well. So that's kind of what it looks like right now, and you can see, goes to here, probably make a little bit longer, and then it's ready to go. But yeah, I'm very excited about this particular sweater. I know Andrea Mowry just came out with the the pullover version of that, and the pattern is available now. I think she was doing a sale recently, not sure if the sale is still on, but that might be another thing to work on. Part of the reason why this has been so enjoyable to work on is just that it's simple. I don't have to think too much about it. I'm not worried about doing the color work at this point in time. I'm just knitting stockinette. I'm, you know, rewatching Altered Carbon with my husband because I have a very short-term memory and I can't remember anything. And yeah, it's great. And then, you know, I knit all of this ribbing while on a Zoom call catching up with some friends the other night. So it's just been very mentally calming, very relaxing to be able to do these meditative, repetitive stitches over and over again. So I've loved working on this project so much that I think I kind of want to make another one. I know we just posted a whole bunch of color combinations of kits that we've put together for this particular sweater. And when I saw them all together, they looked so pretty. I was like, oh no, I want to pick up another kit to make another thing, but there are so many things to work on right now. The other thing that we have right now on the shop that is very simple, very calming, very soothing to make is actually a reimagining of a shawl pattern that we came out with a couple of years ago, and it's called Eskra. Eskra was a shawl pattern that we used with a sock blank, like a gradient sock blank, and it just changed from one color to another color, that sort of thing. And in this case, we took that pattern and we reimagined it, Tabitha reimagined it into 3 different shawl variations. So you can see this is that very familiar sort of asymmetrical shawl idea, and at the base of that shawl is this beautiful contrast. So a little bit of contrasting lace in here. It's very easy to knit. I wonder if you can see the texture up close. So it's got that diagonal sort of thing happening, diagonal stitch pattern happening, and then some lace. So this one comes as a kit in 3 different color options. So there's this one. So this blue color is the Sea Spray, and then underneath that contrast color is called Apple Pie. We have this one, which is Sea Spray and Clementine. And you can see that in this one, the lace, where the lace is, has the Clementine color. In this version, we're doing garter ridges for the contrast color. So there's slightly different variations, but they're very, very similar. And the last one here, it's got kind of like a solid block. So that whole thing becomes that last chunk of color. That last chunk of color is called Dried Lavender. So 3 different shawl options for kits. Now, the reason why we wanted to package these up in kits is because in order to do this much contrast color, you don't need a whole skein of Tough Love sock. Obviously, you don't need 425 yards of yarn. You only need a little bit. So we like making these little half skeins, and the half skeins are only available in kits. So if you get like the Clementine kit, then you would get these 2 together, or you get the Dried Lavender kit together, or you get the Apple Pie one together. So that is an idea. If you've been looking for something to make, something that's very simple, something that's easy on your hands, something that's really enjoyable, I think these ones are, this is a lovely option right now. if you guys haven't already joined us, we are still doing our spring make-along, and that ends April 25th, I believe. So you still actually have some time if you wanted to join and knit something up super quick. It's very drapey at this particular gauge. The fabric drapes really, really nicely. So the other thing that I have been keeping my hands busy with is, again, something that's very, very simple. I love making these scarves. They're so simple and so much fun. So as I mentioned before, my loom, my baby wolf loom, the shacked baby wolf loom, is downstairs in the dining room. It was already set up for the previous project that I put on it, which was those kitchen towels, or those cotton towels that I did for the hand woven color course episode 2. Now, there were a whole bunch of ends on there. They're already tied and the whole thing is threaded, which makes it super, super, super easy for me to just wind a warp and then tie right on to that warp. So what I did was I wound a warp using one of the sock blanks that we talked about last week. So this is the Andromeda color of the sock blank. So I wound this warp and put that on the loom and wove it all off. So to tie all the knots across for my shawl, for the scarf, only took about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours max. And then to weave the whole thing maybe took about an hour, not even an hour. It was so quick that I've just actually tied on a second scarf, and I'm going to be weaving that off maybe perhaps even today. So I basically tied all the knots while I was on the Zoom call with everybody on Tuesday in the morning. Super quick, super easy. Now, as weft in these projects, I'm using another sock blank. And so you can see kind of like how these are bobbins, or they're perns that are all wound to go in as weft yarn for these scarves. So you can see there's a bit of a gradient happening already in the bobbins. It's really, really lovely. Now, when you're winding perns, one thing that you might want to know is that you should wind them really tightly. It has to be wound under some tension, because if you don't, then this happens. It just all comes off. And so Nina had tried to help me by bringing all of my perns to me the other day, and they all started to kind of fall off because I had realized that I had not wound them under enough tension. So I had to come back and rewind all of them. So I need to do that later. But yeah, these hand woven sock blank scarves, this is the first one that's just come off the loom. I'll give you a sneak peek. So you can see all of the bobbin changes that I've made because I wanted to make those bobbin changes very distinctive so that they were like sections of things happening. Otherwise it would be one big giant smooth progression. And so I might make another variation that's like that. So this is, yeah, I'm very much in love with this fabric. It's so pretty. So this is one sneak preview of the first scarf, but I liked it so much that I actually went back to the studio and then I got 4 more of the same sock blank because I'm gonna make variations of this same sock blank scarf. There are so many different things that I can do with it because, I mean, in this case, I used a particular colorway, that taiga colorway for the weft, and I could, you know, choose to make it smooth. I could choose to make it twill. I could choose to use a different weft yarn, like a finer weft yarn. I could use a fuzzy weft yarn. I could do basket weave. I could do all sorts of different things to change this cloth to make it different than what this is, which is just plain weave. So I have a lot of variations that I want to play with, lots of different things that I want to try, different weft colors. So like I might put this in as one of the weft colors. This one is our secret stash. It's called Purple Mangosteen. And so this one is like a splashy sock blank, kind of a crazy splashy sock blank. This is the colorway that I used to make actually this sock blank scarf. And I love that one. So this one as weft could also be very, very interesting when crossed with something that's very smooth. So lots and lots of different things that I want to try, and it's all been really, really simple stuff. Just working with yarn and craft in a way that's very calming, very soothing, very meditative, very repetitive, very simple. Like, I know I had started that brioche hat a couple of weeks ago, and I got to the point where I have to do like some decreases and make this brioche move, and I just don't know if I have it in me right now to sit down and concentrate on that kind of stuff right now. I don't know how you're feeling about this, but I feel like the simpler the better. I want to be making things. I want to stay creative. I want to, play with variations. I want to play with color. I want to enjoy the things that I'm looking at. And right now, the scarf that's on the loom is just all golden and sunshine colors. It's just, I love it. And I think that's all I need right now, is just to look at the colors, enjoy the colors, throw the shuttle very repetitively, very simply, or knit on my sweater very repetitively, very easily, and just enjoy that peace, enjoy that calm right now. So I would love to hear from you and hear about any strategies that you have for what you're doing during this situation. Have you been making a lot of very complicated things? Do you feel like you have time to finally focus on a lot of things that you've been wanting to do? Or are you working on very simple projects, very easy projects? Have you been working from stash yarns, or have you felt the need for like more stash acquisition, kind of like just in case yarn? I feel like I've been doing that with eating. I've been eating extra because just in case. That's another whole other situation that I'm trying to deal with right now. But yeah, in terms of yarn and color, I think where I'm personally at right now is just working with things that are really fun, colors that really sing to me, really speak to me, and just enjoying everything stitch by stitch, some quiet time, maybe some quiet time where we can all make things together. So I think that is it for today. Thank you so much for being here for this episode. If you like this episode, please do hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more content like this. We try to come here every Friday with new videos and new content about what we're doing at Sweet Georgia, at the School of Sweet Georgia, and what I'm making here in this attic here. So thank you so much for being here. Please stay healthy, please stay well, please stay calm, and enjoy your color and craft. I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye for now.